Welcome to the discussion. My guests today are Alan Hill, the Director of the Office of Telecommunications at the General Services Administration, Howard Spira, the Chief Information Officer at the Export and Import Bank, Ches Sivagnanam, the Chief Enterprise Architect at the National Science Foundation, and Zain Ahmed, the Vice President and General Manager for Civilian Sales at CenturyLink. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Before we get started, let me set some context for our discussion today. Think about this for a second. If your email or video teleconferencing system or phones go down, even for 5 minutes or heaven forbid for an hour, what happens to your job? Does it come to a standstill? Do you have the documents on paper? The answer for the most obvious of the questions is similar for all of us. First, it's what the heck? Then is I can't do anything. And then I didn't print out my documents. And then that's it, I'm going for a walk. I'm getting coffee, or these days as we all work from home, I'm taking a nap. That's because everything we do is based on our network. It has to work, it has to work consistently. In fact, the 2009 white paper from McKinsey says there's ample evidence that the creative use of infrastructure has helped leading companies make themselves more efficient, redefine their business models, and improve their customer experience. 11 years later, this is truer than ever. Agencies need to modernize and transform their network to take advantage of emerging technologies, cloud applications, and improve security. That modernization and transformation, mainly through the Enterprise Infrastructure Solutions Program, or EIS, is starting to happen. As you'll hear probably from Alan Hill from GSA, agencies are starting to implement technologies like voice over IP at an accelerated rate, and a few, are starting to ask for software-defined networking capabilities. So what can agencies do to successfully transform and modernize their networks? What are the benefits and promises of moving to a software-defined wide area or SD-WAN setup? Well, that's where our panelists are gonna come in. Gentlemen, let me start with some basic. Let me turn to Alan Hill to start. You're seeing the network modernization, the changes that are happening at the 50,000-foot view through the EIS program. What are some of those trends? What are you seeing from agencies as they're moving down this path of network modernization?
So thank you, Jason. Appreciate the invite, and thank you, CenturyLink, for sponsoring this event on Federal News Network. First, starting at the high level, we're looking at GSA facilitating IT modernization across federal government is a top priority at GSA. Cloud and network infrastructure service presents a great opportunity for GSA to guide customers as they modernize. Because of how rapid IT is changing, we need to think about how IT is delivered in a more holistic fashion. We need to look at network at how it's being delivered today and how it should be delivered to work with the cloud technologies. Applications don't work well outside the cloud because they're built on legacy architects that aren't efficient. This is why CIOs and business owners need to take business applications in their IT portfolio and look throughout the application rationalization process to determine what is necessary for them to operate in a more efficient manner in the cloud. It is not, we need to build on key components of the cloud smart framework: security, procurement, workforce, so they can help customers answer the questions. What applications are actually belong in the cloud? Too often decisions are made to move to the cloud applications without fully understanding how it impacts the business operations and value to the organization. That's why we partner with OMB and the CIO Council to produce the Application Rationalization Playbook. It strongly encourages agencies to take a more holistic view of the cost of benefit and migrating applications from on-premise into different environments, including the business value, technical fit, and total cost of ownership. The network needs to be handled no different than the cloud, and how it needs to be seamless across the environment. So in EIS, we're looking at how to make network to operate in the same fashion that it does in the cloud. So how the network operates in the cloud, we need to take that out of the cloud and make it sure it goes all the way down to the end user and how it works. That's why software-defined network becomes prominent. TIC 3.0, Zero Trust, all the types of security features that are built in the cloud, we need to extend that to our endpoints. Thank you, Jason.
Now, Alan, one of the things you touched upon is this push and pull between the applications and the network. The network has to operate in the same fashion as the cloud, you're saying, but at the same time, you got to figure out which applications fit best. If you can, give me a sense of, or there's some trends you're starting to see among the solicitations, the fair opportunity solicitations that agencies are putting out there? Specifically, is there a desire to modernize the network beyond, we're just going to, from networks to EIS, it's, 10, 12, 15 years later, it's going to be better automatically?
Yes. So agencies are in different maturity levels. Some agencies are more ready to modernize, and for example, software-defined wide area network. Because they have the right components in their infrastructure, they can move to a SD-WAN type solution that would provide them the type of value and better management and more aligned to the types of cloud technologies there. Other agencies may not have the right components in place, and that takes time to build on. So it's important to understand where those opportunities are to where you can build on now, new technologies, and where you may to converge things and build on. For example, you might have your voice and data separated right now, but you want to bring them together in a solution where you get unified communication. Building that out, the technical nuances of that takes time to build the right infrastructure so it supports a more modern applications.
Let me move over to Howard and from the Export-Import Bank. You're at the next level down. Alan's seen it from the 50,000-foot view, if you will. How are you at the Export-Import Bank starting to address that network transformation modernization?
Sure. Well, I think that network modernization is part and parcel of our journey to the cloud. If I look at today, sort of the complexity of stitching together on-prem infrastructure, various cloud services, whether it's software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, government shared services, and now that we're managing our way through the pandemic, basically a distributed, 100% distributed workforce, the stitching together that network is more important than ever, and ensuring that we have the tools to do that in a way that is allows us to be agile and quick in our response, to manage that complexity, to be able to monitor and quickly tune our network and ensure that we're securing this I'll call it this more complex enterprise is something that we're very focused on. The Export-Import Bank of the United States is a relatively simple entity from a network perspective, but even as a simple entity, it's impressive to me in sort of a cloud environment of all the different services that we're stitching together, and then as I mentioned today, trying to deliver to every employee at their home.
You make an interesting point that even for an agency that's on the smaller side, it's still a very complex network in many ways. You guys are in a hybrid environment, I imagine?
Yeah, I would say right now we have about between 70 and 80% of our IT infrastructure is in some kind of the cloud. And then we have a relatively small on-prem footprint, but even the on-prem footprint is fully virtualized. And so while we may not be overly focused on the WAN side of the house, the use of software-defined networks is incredibly important to us for the management of that on-prem network, and within our cloud infrastructure as a service capabilities with respect to, like I said, the speed and agility with which we set up very secure, very responsive, easy to monitor networks. So we utilize all of the technology, and if we didn't have that technology, I don't think we could manage the current state of complexity.
I think that's a point I'm hearing time and again from a lot of chief information officers and other people in the federal IT world, that the move, even the small move for you guys, whichever agency is really making a difference today. And let me bring in Ches from the National Science Foundation. You all also have made a big move to the cloud. You guys have been using cloud infrastructure for some time. But what does your network modernization look like? What path are you on?
Good morning, and thank you for inviting to this great panel here. So let me start with National Science Foundation. Our mission is to provide the base infrastructure to advance science research in the nation. And then we are a single mission agency. Our IT is also mission focused. So let me start saying that we are not looking at modernizing a network just because we have to do a network modernization. It has to be aligning with our mission and our vision and how we are helping the community serving the best service to promote the science research. So from that angle, so 2 years ago, if you look at our infrastructure, it was mostly confined to the headquarters, and we had a data center running in the headquarters providing all IT services. Then immediately we saw the broader need of enabling with new capabilities such as AI or machine learning or advanced collaboration tools. The situation we are here today, actually, we are one of the top agencies providing this, classic remote work facility. So all these would not have been possible if we haven't adopted cloud. And when I say cloud, initially our focus was just looking at one cloud, and then we quickly realized not one cloud provider is going to meet all our needs, and we have to set up this multi-cloud architecture so we can use take advantage of these services provided by these providers on an on-demand basis. So to set up this multi-cloud environment, and obviously if you look at the fundamentals of federal government cybersecurity and infrastructure, it is all mostly network centric. So we have to make sure we have a robust advanced network to really make this capability available to our IT. So we added this cross-connect architectures, which kind of helps fosters that capability of enabling multi-cloud cloud providers on demand basis. And also it also helps us move data and services between the cloud providers and on an on-demand basis. So this is the architecture we have developed in the past 2 years. And the network modernization fits in the middle of this architecture, right? So we have to have a high-speed connection. We want to make sure it's secure, and also have controls of adding and turning on and off the cloud providers on an on-needed basis. So the EIS fits right in the middle of this, and our partners have been very helpful. We have enabled for example, the direct connect, or still we are still on TIC 2.0. We are looking to move to TIC 3.0 at some point, but all the TIC 2.0, the hosting of the cross-connect architecture, everything is part of the EIS capabilities. So that's where we are today, and we look forward moving in this direction. And also at some point, we want to take advantage of the TIC 3.0 and that helps us even being more resilient to adding more cloud providers and bringing new capabilities to the foundation in advancement of the research.
You mentioned about the network making this all possible. Have you had to make changes? It's been on a journey to make sure your network can handle the multi-cloud approach, can handle the remote work capabilities? Are there specific steps you've taken over the last year or two to ensure that network is in tip-top shape?
Yes. So when we started our cloud migration efforts, it all started with a VPN. We know that is not enough. So now obviously in the past years, we have worked on establishing a fiber connection and also a redundant fiber connection from our headquarters to the cross-connect facility. And then we also started working with our EIS vendor to really build this co-located facility where the cross-connect capabilities could be built on. So all these have been done in the past couple of years, and we are still expanding further and adding more capabilities to specifically add newer cloud providers. So this is something which we have achieved in the past 2 years.
All right, great news there. Obviously, I talked to your CIO, Dorothy Aronson, just recently, and there's a lot of good news happening at NSF. Let's bring in Zane from CenturyLink. Let's first ask you, what are you seeing from your customers these days around network modernization? And then maybe we could ask you to react a little bit to what everyone's been saying.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So I'll take kind of two parts of it. First part is how we're seeing as a macro world dynamically changing and responding to COVID-19. The digital interactions have gone up. We're seeing a lot of stress put on the network itself. And you're not just on the core of the network. I think that scales a lot easier. You're seeing the distributed ends show up very differently. Your towers are getting jammed with concurrent calls coming through and data getting used that way. So we're seeing a lot of that. We've scaled our network accordingly and continue to do that as we see demand show up in different areas of the country and globally as well. But then more at the micro level from a government perspective, we've almost provided 200 gigs of internet traffic, upgraded our customers within just the healthcare vertical itself. And that happened within either 4 hours or 2 hours of getting us the order, or sometimes not even having the order to respond to the COVID-19 initiatives that the government has across the board. And that's where owning your own network becomes really important, and being able to control your destiny and being able to respond to as the mission evolves for different agencies, being there for them and being responsive around it. We've even, as being a good corporate citizen, wherever we're on net and our facilities are there fiber-wise, are offering free services to any temporary medical services or hospitals being stood up, just to provide that ongoing support. We even provide that for the U.S. Navy ship Mercy in Los Angeles. So we'll continue to do that and continue to evolve. So our network is in great shape and continues to scale.
We're just about out of time for this segment, but I just want to get one quick follow-up on, as you talk to agencies and as you see with their reaction to with this coronavirus pandemic and having more and more employees work from home, they did some network stress tests before the maximized telework order came down. What I've heard from agency CIOs and federal CIO Suzanne Kent really made a big difference, and vendors like yourself, like CenturyLink, really responded quickly. What was the reaction? What did you hear from your customers during that stress test? Like, was there a lot of, oh my, you better come help me now? Or was it more like, oh, we're not in bad shape, we just need to tweak here, tweak there? And I know you can't blanket everybody, but what were some of the things?
I think, in my opinion, COVID-19 will be responsible for a lot of IT modernization efforts directly, because people are getting forced to live differently, react differently, interact differently, and the stress caused a lot of panic. And that showed up with customers asking for bandwidth tomorrow or in a couple hours, and that reaction and having alignment all across the board. Suzette was calling Dave Young, our president for federal, right? So public sector rather. So getting things aligned to make sure everybody is working in the same kind of direction and prioritizing things. It helps react to our customers better and serve their mission. So we were able to react through and work with them. I think we're in a much better position today from that perspective, and showing up and responding to all the diverse workforce that's coming back into the mothership for data or interactions and having those conversations.
Excellent. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we can continue our conversation about network modernization. You're listening to the panel discussion, Modernizing Federal Networks, sponsored by CenturyLink on Federal News Network.